So in this lesson we are going to be creating a set of IK controls. So I'm going to hide the FK skeleton, and under controls, oops, let's undo that. I didn't mean to do the radius, I want to do the visibility. There we go. Inside of here I'm just going to hide the 0. Actually, just to make it easier, I'm just going to select this control and put the visibility on for my shoulder control, which is there. And I'm going to turn the visibility on my IK and the visibility on the IK group. There we go. So here we basically want to create a control for the arm, and it's going to be really simple and similar to what we did before with the FK system, except that we're going to be constraining the IK handle rather than the joints. So let's do that. I'm going to create a I'll start off with creating the groups or the null, and then I'm going to say this is going to be the left wrist CTRL underscore GRP underscore 0. That is going to be parented to that joint, zeroed out, unparent it, then after we've done that, I'm gonna duplicate that group. This is going to be my offset, and parent that to the 0 group. Here we have the 0 group. We need a control now. So with that control, I'm going to steal the name here, paste it here, and drop it in there. And now all I have to do is zero out the control, rotate it 90 degrees, then freeze transformations. There we go. So we have this 0 group created, and now all I have to do is take this control and do a point constraint to this control here. So let's do constraint, target object to be constrained, constraint point. So we have a point constraint to the arm. We want this control to also control the wrist, so let's select this and then select the joint, constraint, let's check this, maintain offset, current axis, that all looks good. Add. So now when we rotate, it will rotate that joint, and when we move, it will move that. Cool. So the only other thing left to do is set up a pull vector so that we can control the elbow where it's moving. So let's do that. Let's create a control, and with this control here, I'm going to call this L underscore elbow underscore CTRL. And I guess we can set up the groups now for the null node. Something that I'm noticing that might become an issue later is that we don't have the designation of IK, so I'm going to add that here. Underscore IK and underscore IK, so that way we can differentiate between the FK and IK controls because they're really similarly named. Underscore IK, there we go. And this is going to be underscore GRP underscore 0. So this one's going to be a little bit tricky because we don't want to change the alignment of these joints. But when we set up a pull vector, it's going to automatically snap to where this is looking at. So how do we do that? And if we look at the constraint pull vector, there's no maintain offset, so we can't do that way. So the way we're going to do that is select this. Actually, we need to select the 3 joints that we are affecting there. Then we're going to select that 0 group. And then after we've done that, we're going to do constraint parent, and let's look at the option box. We want maintain offset turned off, and we want to make sure we've got all the rotate and translates set up here. So I'm going to do that there. So let's select this group here, and we got it lined up basically right on the plane that these 3 joints create. So now that I've done that, I'm going to delete this constraint because I have it lined up where I need it. What I do want to do now is aim it towards this joint here. So I'm going to select that joint there, then select the group, constrain, and let's look at the aim constraint. Maintain offset is turned off, that's perfect. Let's do it on the X, it doesn't have to be negative, and let's click apply. All these settings look okay. So we can see that the orientation shifts on that control. So I'm going to delete this group now, but it is lined up in the direction that I want. So I'm just going to move this straight back, so that way it's exactly lined up with that plane and the elbow. So now that I've done that, that is exactly where I want it. I'm going to duplicate that group, name this offset, parent it to 0, and then parent the control to that, 0 out all the controls. We have it lined up. I'm going to just rotate this 90 degrees. And then freeze transformations. Maybe just scale and set up the control to look a little bit different so that we know that it's not directly connected to the skeleton, but it is driving something. So let's do F8, and maybe I'll take these controls here. Do that, bring this one up, and move these controls up. Maybe select this one, move it up, and scale these down towards each other. just so we have something that designates it as the elbow control. And let's double check. The transformations are frozen. Cool, perfect. Now all I need to do is set up the pull vector. So the control is the target, object to be constrained is that IK. And now we should see when we do constraint pull vector, it should not shift at all. So let's see. Cool, the skeleton did not shift at all, perfect. And when we move this elbow control, it is moving the way we expect it to. We might want at this stage to parent these to the controls group and to the master control, so I'm just going to select it here in the scene there. So we select that and that is all selected. Perfect. Then I also want to make sure that the joints are all lined up, just to make sure everything looks perfect here. So that's it for the IK controls. We'll see you guys in the next lesson.